right, yeah. Let's go to Isaiah 2 and 4. Let me look at that right quick. There's three places. Isaiah 2 and 4. He shall judge among the nations and shall rebuke many people. They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Okay, here's something interesting. Flo did a live feed earlier, right? And he went to the parable of the sower. In the parable of the sower, you don't get a lot of, in my opinion, you don't get a lot of millennial kingdom passages in there because Jesus straight up tells you there's going to be a harvest of the good and the bad, and the wheat's going to be thrown into the barn, and right. And I wanted to get on there and tell him, well, Jesus says I have a lot more things to tell you that you will not understand right now, and so after the Spirit comes on the apostles, then they start talking. However, let me tell you this. A lot of people say that the millennial kingdom belief system starts with an interpretation of Christianity, and here's where I'm going to differ at. It's actually a Judaistic belief system that a messianic age would come. It's called the Olam Haba, the age to come, and it would be an age where Israel's ruling the nations with a righteous Davidic king. The only difference is when people say it's a new belief system is because the Christians put Jesus there, right? So these nations here, beating their hooks into plowshares and all that. I'm gonna go to another verse. I have three that I want to look at. Micah 4:3. Let me bring that up. And he shall judge among many people, and he shall judge among, and rebuke strong nations afar off, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nations shall not lift up. Same Isaiah verbatim, same stuff. And my last one I want to go to is Joel 3:12. Okay, let the heathen be wakened and come to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there I will sit to judge all the heathen round about. Okay, with the two verses that I just mentioned, Isaiah and Micah, I'm questioning if someone says, let's go through a couple different ways of reading this. If someone says you have to look at this through the lens of the New Testament, okay, let's look at it. Where in the New Testament is an example of this, given that this has been fully realized or fully fulfilled? Because I can't find one. Now, if you say uh, when Jesus comes back, it's going to be no millennial kingdom, straight eternal state or something like that. How do you explain the nation is bleeding their, into plowshares and there's going to be no war? How do you explain that? And so their counter to me is, well, you don't really believe that yourself because you have a belief system where there is going to be war because after the 1,000 years, Satan is released and Gog and Magog come, right? So, so in a sense, they'll say, well, yeah, the passage says they'll beat their uh, swords into plowshares and pruning hooks. And then they'll say, well, if you believe in the millennial kingdom, then you still believe there's going to be war. But here's the difference, though. Here's the difference. It's not the nations necessarily rising up against Israel. It's Satan leading his armies of unbelievers or whatever it is against the millennial kingdom.